Hello YouTubers, and welcome back to this next episode of SteamPunk computer stand. Today we're going to be making the swivel that goes on the end of this arm for the monitor, and we'll be making out of this ring and this pipe and a few of these round metal discs. So what we're going to wind up doing is we're going to take and quarter this ring, cut it in, well, 3 pieces actually, so that way we got two quarters to mount to the side here, so where they can come up like this, and then take this piece of pipe, then we'll take this piece of pipe, put one of these discs with the larger hole on it on top, TIG weld it. Of course, it's got to be turned down to diameter, and then use this smaller disc with the smaller hole for a threaded. I'm going to drill a hole out a little bigger, thread it, and then use it as a swivel top. We'll still have to make the mount for the monitor itself, but this is just the base of the thing that then attaches sort of like this. In a right angle, and that's what the quarter rings are for. And that way the monitor cable can still go down through the arm as a conduit and be out of sight without getting tangled up and everything. Everybody knows what kind of a pain in the ass that cables are, especially around computers, if they're not all bound up and tied together. So that was one of the thoughts behind this this little experiment, to get a handle on those pesky cables so that they're not dangling everywhere, constituting a trip hazard. And then of course it would look a lot more steampunkish anyway without the cables hanging off of it. So this episode is going to be a little chopped up. My battery's kind of low on the camera, and same thing on the microphones. So the sound may or may not cut in or out. If it does, so then I'll have to unplug these remote microphones and just use the mic on the camera. So anyway, I'm going to cut this up off camera and then bring you guys back when I got it cut. Okay, I got this one part here cut. Now the question is, how do you get it in the right angle? So when you stick it on the table here, you can see how the setup would work on that. So what we're going to do is just take our square here, and again, there's no big need for accuracy. We have a diameter of 127 millimeters, or no, where's it, 128? Yeah, 128. So half of that is 64. So all we're going to do is lay this out, pull it to 64, and draw our line. And now we have, there we go, our line in the middle, and we can cut that along that line and get 2 quarters. So let me do that real quick. So here we have our 2 quarter circles that are amazingly precise, given the fact that these were cut by hand and no precision, just kind of off the cuff. So then these go onto this pipe here like this to hold the upright. So let me prep this and get this all welded up, and I'll bring you guys back when that's done. Alrighty, since this is kind of a how-to video, I'm putting it in Zerks Wheels. I'm showing you some of the techniques that are often employed in various processes, in this case welding pipe. What I did here, the copper plate has been leveled up in the vise so that, at least on this plane, so that way when I go to weld this here, it's going to be in a right angle. And so what I've done here also is I've leveled up this end of the pipe. Normally I could have just stuck it on the, I could have done it anyway, but this is kind of one of those exercises where there's a lot of things coming into play. This plate right here is going to get welded onto the end, and then you got the same thing in mirror reverse. So what I've done is I've shimmed up this end of the pipe with the same piece of material that this other, or the other half of the ring that came off of this. So this way everything's in a right angle. So when you're welding pipe, your level is your best friend, and then of course a flange square. But that's not going to come into play on this video just yet, or maybe later, I don't know. Probably not at all. So now this is still a little hot. Let me pick this up. It's picking up a little heat. So here's the piece I just turned on the lathe, welded that on there, and it's going to get turned again to where this face is machined smooth so that we have a nice flat surface to work with. But that's going to happen when this cools off. Right now it's still hot, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and lay this out. It's just going to get eyeballed because it's not really critical. It's not a precision application here, so that way you know, I can just do whatever feels good and then just color it good that way. So I'm going to stick my ground on the pipe here and go to town. So I'll bring you guys back when this step is completed and get the other piece welded on. Okay, now we're at the next step here, and we're getting ready to put the swivel base. It's just been turned, welded and turned. So now we have a machine surface and of course chamfered. I'm going to have to ream the hole probably a little bit too, but now the question is, how do you get it square to the arm? And so what we're going to do is just take our little machinist square here, run it in until we run up to his resistance, and just kind of wiggle the thing around until it seats nice and flat. You can't see it through the camera's eye, but as I look down through there I can see along the edge of the swivel base, and can adjust accordingly. I think I'm going to pull this up just a smidge, down a little bit below the weld here so it doesn't look all that great. So to readjust and swivel a little bit, I'm holding pressure up against the pipe and pushing forward on the square and rotating this piece until it seats, until I don't see any more daylight between the bottom of the square and the edge of the piece. Now it's ready to be welded. Bring you back when that's done. So now the next step is going to be making some elevation rings. This one is going to be for the keyboard so that I can adjust the height up and down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this parting or dividing head. It has a ratchet mechanism here on the back. It's kind of an interesting device. Picked it up for next to nothing. I bought it mainly for this chuck, but that's neither here nor there. I've never used this thing before, but today's going to be the first time. So what we're going to do is drill 4 holes in the perimeter of this ring so that you know, you can get the elevation up or down however you want it, and you know, set the height for your keyboard and all that stuff. Everything else is just going to be rings stacked upon the rings. This is the base ring that, like I said, holds the height. So anyway. isn't being very stable, I am going to have to grab the other vice grips and hold the back. Okay, let's see how that works. Now we're the shit. Reposition here in a little bit. Maybe we can get this thing. Well, it's not going to behave. The way I want it to. So let's do a total reposition here. Get this dirty bitch closer to the edge. So that way the vice grips, there's a little slot here on the back of this dividing head that okay, so ahead a little bit. There we go. Now we're about where we were before on the hole. Okay, clamp you down here and try this one more time back here. Okay, that's looking better. Alrighty. So now we're going to loosen the brake. Oops. First retract. Okay, these are just going to end up being through holes, and I'm going to weld some stainless nuts on the outside. I'm just going to leave this unpainted. I like those peacock colors when you weld stainless to a regular piece of steel, so that they're nice and blue. And bring you guys back when all that's done. The through holes are just going to be a rinse and repeat of this operation, so I don't have to bore you with all the nitty-gritty details, and we'll see you on the next step. So now here we are to the next step, and you know, there's lots of different ways to weld a nut onto a piece of pipe. You know, you can just place it on there, but then you never know exactly, okay, am I square to the world or am I center on the hole? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed the bolt from the inside and center it up on the hole. This is a 13 millimeter hole and an M12 bolt. So that means it's 12 millimeters. There's going to be a little bit of room on all sides. So then all I got to do, once I got that centered, is to, now I'm going to turn this a little bit so that when the bolt runs to the bottom of the thread, I've got contact on the top and bottom. I got to run it back out and make sure I'm still on center in the hole, because I know I'm not after moving this around, and sure enough I'm a little off. So now I'm recentering. Run this on down there, and here we go. So then that way, when I run after I weld this bolt on, or the nut onto the surface here, I know that my hole is somewhat centered and I don't have to ream the hole again. So now just the second one, same thing in green. Center this on there. First I'm going to run the nut down to get it the one flat side perpendicular to the long axis. So now I can my fat finger's in the way there. So now I'm going to center this. And I'm still off a little, so let me get that back on there a little bit. Yep. Okay. And so on and so forth until all 4 bolts are put on. So now the next step is to tack them on there using some stainless rod, and away we go. I'm going to shut this off because, like I said, I don't have a lens for the welder. I'd love to show you guys my welding skills. They're not top notch, they're okay, but anyway, this has got to be welded up, so, and I don't want to burn up my camera with the arc. So I'll bring you guys back when I'm done with this step. Well, got that all done. Now we're taking the bolts out of the center here. It's still pretty hot, so you can't really touch it. And no, the wrench is only because I can't get a hold of the head of the bolt. I mean, I've got a hold of it, but it's so hot in there right now that I should wait to let it cool off. But I'm a little in a bit of a hurry, so I'm going to try and get it out this way, at the risk of maybe catching a blister. But as you can see, these bolts turn out of the holes fairly easy. I mean, I'm not even holding it down, and you know, the wrench, if there was resistance on the wrench, the ring would be lifting up off the copper plate, and so you can see there's no resistance in the screw or the bolt coming out of the threads of the nut. And that's exactly what we wanted. Didn't want to have the side of the bolt, or the bolt rubbing up against the side of the hole somewhere and causing a problem. But you can see here there's nice peacock colors on this ring. So what I'm going to do with it now is I'm just going to oil it and keep it the way it is. I don't want to paint this because, like I said, these peacock colors I think kind of look cool, and will probably accentuate the appearance of the computer stand. Now the post will get painted black, and then I have some copper pipe, some downspout off rain gutters that I'm going to use as a liner for this, so that way when I put pressure on the bolts, they don't dig into the paint, or when you pivot the keyboard and other components on the post, one, it picks up the slop, and then two, it doesn't gouge the paint on the post, so that way when you change the position of the thing later on, you don't have to repaint it right away. So anyway, on to the next step, and bring it back when that one's ready.